Hey. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. Listen, I am so glad y'all here. I was thinking this week because it's been a pretty violent week in Kansas City about this concept of witnessing versus snitching. I I know that I was so excited in the month of July because, of course, it's my birthday month, but usually July is a very violent month in our city. And this July, from like the 5th of July to the last week of July, we didn't have a single homicide. And so, people feel like, well, you don't want to celebrate because um if then, you haven't gotten down to like zero and that's the goal. But I think that's the wrong way to think about it. I think you need to celebrate when people are not killing each other. When I think about right now that we're down um 24% violent homicides from this year over last year, that's worth celebrating. But every single last one of those people matter. I believe they add value. I believe that they had dignity, that their families are forever impacted. And there's something that community members and also police have been asking for because we don't have a 100% clearance rate. And the city that we follow the model for is Omaha. In Omaha, Nebraska, they used to have homicide numbers that were worse than what we have here in Kansas City. And because of the work of Omaha 360 and the empowerment network there, they have, I think last year they had single digit homicide numbers. Don't hold me to that. And as I said, I'm going to lean into this. One is one too many, but too often people are quiet. They're silent. They don't say a thing. And I get why people are silent. There have been times when folks have saw something and then they said something and then their name ends up in the report, or the police come to their house. In fact, last week I was telling you all about I think I told you all about the person I did who showed up at my house. She didn't come to my house, but she was walking past and I was helping her. The police ended up coming by here. And who wants the police outside their house? Nobody. And it's not a great look. If you don't understand that, we got to have a whole different conversation, but it's not a great look. And so I get why people don't always want to call the tip hotline, why people don't want to say something when they know something, but we can get to 100% clearance if people do say something. Cuz quite frankly, somebody always knows when someone's murdered. Someone always knows. Someone always saw something. And the way to determine if you should or should not say something is actually quite simple. The first way I think is helpful for people to think about is, what do you say you value? The number of times I hear somebody say things like, I'm more Malcolm than I am Martin. To me, that means you value courage. Even though I completely disagree with the idea that Martin Luther King was not a courageous man and that Malcolm X was somehow more courageous, I don't like to get into that argument because we don't need to do that. But if you tell me you like either one of those leaders, you're telling me you value courage. And you're telling me you value courage under fire. And if you value courage, but then you're not courageous when it matters, what does it mean when we are not in alignment with what we say we value? When we say we want something, but we won't give it? It's hypocrisy. And empathy can't sit on a bed of hypocrisy. So I think everybody should know what their top 10 values are. You probably can't remember 10. I can't remember 10 if you ask me to. But then if you should certainly know what your top five are. And if you can't remember five, what's your top three? Humor, justice, competence. Those are mine. Pick yours. What are they? Are you a faith-filled person? If so, how you a faith-filled person, but you scared to speak up when somebody has been murdered and you know something about that? That's all I'm saying. And the second thing I think that people need to think about is, if it was you who somebody had harmed, if it was you whose family member had been murdered, you now all of a sudden you want people to talk, right? You want people to talk. Recently, one of my friends, their house was broken into. They was wanting the folks behind them. They want their ring cameras. They want everybody who knows something to say something because they want their stuff back. We keep talking about this platinum rule, treating people how they want to be treated. And I keep saying we ain't got the golden rule down. If you treat people how you want to be treated, that gets us a whole lot closer to a more empathetic world. We out here, people in our community are harming each other. The numbers are getting better. I'm excited about that. I think we should celebrate that. And every life lost is a loss. And almost always, someone knows about who has been involved in these crimes. They certainly know when someone's been involved in these murders. And listen, I'm all for the hashtag free because, but if because did it, empathy and accountability together. It is not empathy or accountability. I don't want anybody to be in jail. And there are consequences for actions. Do we over incarcerate our citizens? Absolutely, for things like parking tickets. But if you killed somebody, there's a consequence for that action that means that you should go to jail. Snitches get stitches. Snitching is about you were part of the murder. You helped to plan it. Now you telling on your accomplice. That's a snitch. But a witness is important. You saw something, you ain't had nothing to do with it. You giving us information we need to solve these crimes. It's the least we could do for a family who has lost a pillar of their individual or their communal family. And how do you know if it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do? What would you want to happen if it were you? And the answer is pretty clear. It's not about snitching, it's about witnessing. And to get to 100% clearance rate, you know that if somebody had taken your loved one, you would at least want someone to be able to see that person have their day in court and be held responsible for the consequences of their actions. It makes for a safe community. And before you have anything else, people need to be safe. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. People need to be safe. And so share, have this conversation. Hey, post your post about free Big Cuz if you know Big Cuz ain't did it. But if Big Cuz did it, you need to be calling the detective. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. We got work to do.